Hello and good morning everyone. As you know, we are revising our syllabus and we know that the third chapter of our syllabus, that is working with functions. So we will start the revision process related with this chapter. Right? It is a second video of our revision series. So in this video, we will discuss about what is function in Python and what is the working of the function. Right? In this video, you can find what is function, the very first topic. The second topic of this video is why we use functions in our program. The third part of this video, it is parts of the function. As you know, there are 4 different parts of the function. The first one is function header, or we can say function declarator. The second one, it is known as function arguments or function parameters. The third one, it is function definition. And the fourth part of the function, that is function return statement. Clear? Now the last topic of this video, it is how to call or how to invoke a specific function. Right? Now, very first, in class 11th, we worked with a lot of library functions. Right? I say library functions such as len, print, min, max, pop, etc. All these library functions are sub-programs, or we can say small program codes that take some value, process on these values and give a desired output. These functions are created by the company and stored in our Python library. Now the point is, these functions are already created, so we just use them or call them into our program directly. These functions are created already by the company. We can use these functions directly in our program. For example, we supply a list variable into a min function. The function works on the list variable and the minimum value of the list is printed on the monitor. Here the min is the library function, right? So what is function? A function is a block of organized reusable code that is used to perform a single action. Functions provide better modularity. What is modularity? Modularity means to divide a program into small modules, small sections. So functions provide better modularity for our application and a high degree of code reusing. We can reuse the code again and again. Right? You have already seen various functions like print, input. These are called built-in functions, or just we can say library functions provided by the language itself. Right? Now, we will talk about the user-defined function. Here, the word is user. User means who use the Python. User-defined means the code or program that is defined or created by the programmer itself. Right? In other words, we can say user defined functions are the sub-programs or small programs or an unit of code that are created by the programmer itself. Right? A programmer can break his program into small units. These small units or functions make a program more readable and understandable, and also we can reuse these functions in our program. User-defined functions are divided into 2 parts, function definition and the function calling. Right? Now, good thing about functions is that they are famous with several names. Different programming languages name them differently. For example, in some programming language we can say it is a function. In others we can say it is a method, it is a subroutine, it is a subprogram, procedure, etc. Clear? Now let's say you are writing a program and you need to perform a same task in that program more than once. In such case, you have 2 options. Right? You want to perform a same task more than once. Now, in such case, we have 2 options. How many options? The first one, use the same set of statement every time we want to perform the task. Means we just copy paste the statement again and again. Now the second option is create a function to perform the task and just call it every time we need to perform the task. Right, here we need not to make copy paste, just create a function and call it again and again. Function calling, it is a single line statement only. Clear? So using option B is a good practice, and a good programmer always uses functions while writing code. Clear? Now just listen carefully. If you create a small program that contains 30 to 40 lines, or we can say up to 100 lines only, use of function is not much effective. You can create your program without function also. Concept of a small program are there up to class 11th only. In class 12th, you deal with large programs. With the use of function, we can create a large program very easily. So for big applications, use of functions are too much effective. Right? By using functions, we can break our program into small units. One unit will be created by one student, so a team is involved. Right? You can finish your application before time. You can reuse the code and so on. So there are n number of benefits of functional programming. Right? Now, why we need functions in programming? It is a very important concept. Why these functions are required, or why we need functions in our program? Functions are used because of following reasons. The first reason is to improve the readability of the code. Readability means if you are going to read the code, you are going to read the program, it is easy to understand if you divide your program into small functions. The second benefit is function improves the reusability of the code. Reusability means we can use the function code again and again. Right? The third benefit, divide a big program into small modules for a better grip on the program. Fourth benefit, one coder will be engaged with one module, and the software development will be distributed with a team. Right? So the software can be developed in very less time. If one person is going to create the whole software, he will take time. And if the same software will be developed with different persons, and at the last all these modules grouped together in a single unit, then it is less time consuming. Clear? Now the fourth point, debugging of the code would be easier if you use functions, as errors are easy to be traced. The last one, reduce the size of the code. Duplicate set of statements are replaced by function calls. So these are the benefits of including functions in our program. Right? Now just come to the next screen. Now the concept is how we can break a large program or application into small units. Very first thing, you should keep in mind that there is a team behind each and every big application. These applications are not an outcome of a single programmer. There is a team effort behind it. Right? Sometimes the team may be of 4 to 5 members, and sometimes more than that. CBSE says a team includes 3 to 4 members for a project completion. Right? Now, suppose a school software is delivered to a team. Now the first task is to break the software into small units so that each and every member of the team will be connected with the entire project. Now the very first task is how to break the software. Right? Just see the picture. Here, according to the customer's need, we can divide the software, the school software, into 5 small units. These are library, fees, transport, salary, and the last one, it is result. Library part is assigned to Mr. A. Fees part is assigned to Mr. B, and so on. So there are 5 different team members related with the individual module. Clear? So these 5 members will use 5 different computers to accomplish the given work. Team leader acts like a senior to watch the progress of the project. Team leader is having main software in which he is going to combine all these different units. Right? Now, suppose these team members will take 10 days to complete the software. Now the team leader will collect all the outcomes and paste team members' work into a specific function. Team leader will create 5 different functions into the main software file, such as diff liby, diff fees, diff trp, and etc. Now he will paste Mr. A work into the diff liby function, Mr. B work into diff fee function, and so on. See how easily the task is completed in a short time frame. Here the important fact is, if any customer wants to purchase 2 or 3 modules only rather than the full software, then also the team leader will make changes accordingly with the few minutes and sell the product. Right? Now come to the next one. How we can create functions in Python. It is the main topic that is there in your mind, I think. How we can create functions in Python. Right? Just see a sample program, a sample Python program. There is a 6-line program, and the first line, it is related with print command. Then the second line, x equal to integer input, enter first digit. The enter first digit message will be there on the monitor, and computer asks an input. The given input is stored into the variable x. Now when we execute the third line is x equal to integer input, enter second digit. The message is there on the monitor. Here also computer asks an input. The given input is stored in the variable y. Right? Fourth line, z equal to x plus y. It is just a processing line. Fifth line, addition of this software. Addition of these numbers are. And here the value of z, it will be there on the monitor. Then the last dotted line, the star line, it will be there. So it is a sample program. Now the thing is, the topic is, if we want to create a function, we want to include a function into this program, where we should include the function. The function will be included at the topmost portion of the program. Listen it carefully. If we want to include a function into this particular program, there is only one option. We have to include the function. We have to write the function at the topmost corner of the program. Just see it. See in the next image here. Just check it. If I want to include an intro function, first check the position of this intro function. Right? It is there at the topmost portion of the program. The program is there in black color and the function is there in red color. So the very first topic, if you want to include function in your program, you should include the function at the topmost portion of your program. Right? And then now just see the indentation. Def intro, it is the very first line, and there are 3 different lines into this function. All these print statements are there. 3 print statements are there in this intro function. Just see the indentation. So according to the indentation, we can say 3 lines are there in this intro function. Right? So it is the position where we include the function. Clear? Now if we see this intro function, just sketch it out. If we see this intro function and we are going to divide this function into different parts, how many parts will be there? Just check it out. Def intro, the very first line, of the function, it is known as function header, or we can say function declarator. Def is the keyword to create a function, so we should write it in small letters only. Just after the def, one space is there, and after that the name of the function, it will be there with a small bracket. Right here the bracket is vacant, nothing is there inside the bracket. Clear? And then the function declarator followed by a colon. Just check the colon at the last of the function header. We should write a colon here. Then these three lines are known as function definition, or we can say function body. Right? Just check the indentation of all these three lines, same indentation, and it is inside the intro function. Now, if we want to execute this function, we require function calling statement. If function calling is not there in our program, this function will not execute at all. Function calling requires function name with all applicable input arguments. Now it is the another word, that is input argument, or we can say input parameters. What is input argument, what is input parameter? If you want to catch it out, just see the black color image that is there at the top right corner of your screen. Here another function is there, def xyz, and inside the bracket a, b, c, these three variables are there inside the bracket of this xyz function. These a, b, c are known as input arguments, or we can say input parameters of the function. Right here. Now just come towards the def intro function. If the bracket is vacant, we can say there is not a single input argument in the intro function. Right? So if we want to call the intro function, just see the calling of this function. Intro bracket. Just see at the bottom of our screen. And on the other side, if we want to call this xyz function, what will be the calling of this xyz function? Here, to call the xyz function, we should supply all the input arguments value in a sequence order. So if we want to call this xyz function, first check the declarator, check the header of xyz function. It will take 3 input arguments if we want to execute the function. And here, just check the calling of this function, xyz 10, 20, 30. 3 input arguments are given to the function. 10 is stored in A. 20, the value 20 is going to store in variable B, and the value 30 it is going to store in variable C. So here 2 different type of calling. The first one, the calling of intro function, and the second one, calling of xyz function. Right? Now come to the next screen. Just check it out. How function will execute itself. So here, just check this program. The first line of this program is def intro, and after that 3 lines are there in an indentation level. So we can say these 3 lines are there inside the intro function. Right? So first line def intro, then 3 lines that are there in this function. Then if we see the 4th line, check the indentation. It is on the same indentation level where def intro is written. Print, then intro. In the 5th line, the intro, calling of the intro function is there. Right? So if we want to execute this program, and if we want to see what is the output of this program, just check the output. If we execute this program, the output is like this one. So we will judge how this output will generated by our computer. Check this line. The very first line that computer will execute, that is def intro. It is the definition only. No effect will be there on the monitor. Now computer comes toward the second indentation. the second line that is there on the same indentation level. So here the second line is print and star star star. So it will be the first executable line, and the line is there. The line will be executed on the monitor, and just see the output. The very first, this star line will be there. Now in the second line, intro, it is a calling of this function. Once you call the function, then and then only computer will execute the statements that are there inside the function. So here the very first calling of this function intro, and when we write this calling, computer jumps to the header of this function and then execute all the statements one by one in a sequence order that are there in the intro function. So here just check the output. The second line, program is created by Ravi. The third line, dash 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 line. Then the fourth one, program to find addition. Once the function executes all its statement, it will terminate automatically and come towards the next line. What is the next line? Here it is, intro. Just after the intro calling, just see, now computer comes to the x equal to integer input, enter first digit line, and just check the output. Enter first digit message is there on the monitor. Computer asks a value to the user. Here suppose user inserted 50, so it is there 50. Now computer comes to the next line, y equal to integer input, enter second digit. Enter second digit message, it will be there on the monitor. After that computer will ask an input. Here if we supply 40 as an input, 40 is going to store in the variable y. Now the next line, z equal to x plus y, what will happen? The value of x, it is 50, the value of y, it is 40. Computer is going to add these two different values and the result will be stored in the variable z. 50 plus 40, 90 will be there in the variable z. Now the next line, print addition of these numbers are. Addition of these numbers, the message is there on the monitor, and after the message, value of z, that is 90, it is there. Now again the function calling, intro function calling is there. What will happen? Computer again jumps towards the function header, execute all these three lines, all these three statements that are there inside the intro function, and check the output. Program is created by Ravi, again it is there. Then dash 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 line, then program to find addition. Right? Once the function executes all its statement, it will jump back to the next line, to the very next line after the calling statement, that is print star star star. So this star line will be there. Clear? Now if we talk about sample functions with their calling statement, just see, if a function ABC is created as def ABC empty bracket, how you can call this function? ABC empty bracket. Just remove this def one and put the same function name. The second function, def xyz a comma b. Now here in this xyz function, two input arguments are there, a and b. If you want to call this xyz function, you just write the name of the function xyz, then you have to supply two different values to the function, 10, 20, right? So two input arguments are demanded by the xyz function, and we are going to supply two different input argument. 10 is going to store in variable a, 20 is going to store in variable b. Clear? Now just check out the third function, that is def pqr abc. pqr is the name of the function. ABC, these are the three input arguments or three input parameters of the function. If we want to call the pqr function, we have to supply three values to this function in the function calling statement. Just check this calling statement, pqr 10. 10 is going to store in variable a. 20 is going to store in variable B. Then A, alphabet A, it is going to store in variable C. So PQR 10, 20, A, it is the proper calling of this function. Right? If we skip any input argument from this calling, this function will not execute at all. It is the restriction. Total number of arguments should be satisfied in the function calling statement. Right? Now check it out, the last function, that is def delta x comma y equal to 15. Here one value is assigned in the function declarator in a specific variable y equal to 15. So y is known as default argument or default parameter of this function. It is known as default argument. Once we supply or once we assign a value to a function argument, then the argument is converted, then the argument is known as default argument of the function. Right? So x is the normal input argument, y is the default input argument of the function. Now here there are two different type of function calling related with this delta function. The first calling is delta 10, 20. Two arguments are there and we are going to supply two different values to the function. So the delta 10, 20, it is a proper function calling. 10 is going to store in variable x, 20 is going to store in variable y. Now just see one more function calling related with this same function, related with this delta function, that is delta 10. Here just check the function header. Function takes two input argument x and y, but here in the function calling we are going to supply only one input argument. 10 is going to store in variable x. It follows the same sequence. 10 is stored in variable x. Now the second input argument is missing in the function calling. Computer automatically store 15 in the variable y. Clear? So this calling is also right. Clear all? I hope some function related concept it is shifted in your mind. Thank you very much. Thank you.